All right, gang, welcome back to our Triple Threat Challenge here on Zabby. It is now May. We are putting the buckwheat in the large field over here, which was the soybean field that we purchased. It's one of the fields we do have to own for part of the challenge specifically, right? And, yeah, so we're getting buckwheat in here. Besides this today, the only other thing really majorly that we want to do today, obviously, is mow this grass here that we planted a couple of episodes back at this point. And then, get more fertilizer down on that. Those are the two big things. We do have Field 32 we can do something with as well. I kind of talked about that in the last episode. Not quite sure if we're going to do it in this episode or not. Maybe we do. Maybe we don't. Haven't fully figured that out yet. But other than that, everything else is just kind of in a growing stage right now. We're just kind of waiting it out. Not much else to do besides those. But the good thing is there are quite a number of contracts out there today for us that are going to be good. I did a quick glance before we started this episode. It's looking like we might have a chance to make about 11 grand off of contracts today, which is fantastic, right? So, probably leaning towards not doing anything with field, Field 32? Yeah, Field 32. Probably leaning towards not doing anything with that at all, based off the fact that there are so many good contracts out there, but, we'll see. Also, considering, wonder why this isn't changing at all. I guess it's because it's only putting in a small amount of nitrogen. And I think that's my mistake. I thought I had it on auto. I thought I had switched it auto, and I don't think I did. Oh, there you go. Well, that field is not going to be the greatest yielding on around the edges now. But it should change now. It should start being green. Yep, it is. Perfect. Well, I should have paid attention to that before I started my ramble, but that's all right. Live and learn, whatever. It's a couple. It's not a ton, but just that edge over there on that side and half of this edge on this side won't be the best yielding, but that's fine. Whatever. It just won't have enough fertilizer down on it. We can definitely put more fertilizer on it next episode if we remember to do it. I can bring over the fertilizer spreader and put it down and pretty much resolve that for us. At least it should resolve most of it for us. So. We'll probably do that and kind of fix it that way. So, anyway, how's everyone doing today? Hope you're doing well. Things are good, man. All things considered. As I feel like I say a lot right now, but times are a little weird. As I've mentioned in a couple episodes, back-to-back episodes here, the things have changed again at work. I really don't know what to expect, what to do, but we're not gonna linger on that today. I've talked about it enough, so. Guess we'll find out when the time comes. So anyway, I am supposed to be going to Toronto, though, which is, I've mentioned this before, I know, in the past, that, I was supposed to do it, like end of July, mid-end of July, something like that. And then this whole thing changed with them letting go of the president, and now they're letting go of 2 other people or whatever, right? So we weren't sure if we were going to be going back up there at all or not. They're having us come back up there at the end of September, so... hopefully that means that I'm at least safe until October, right? But I don't know. Either way, we do have to go there. So for, I don't know, it's like 3 days, 3 or 4 days, something like that. In the middle of the week, I'll be gone out of town for that. But I shouldn't really have a problem by then to have enough videos loaded up that, there won't be any missed days, or at least there shouldn't be any missed days. But if for whatever reason there is, I'll let you know. But that's obviously far away by then, right? At this point, we're over a month out from at this point, but... Still have not bought a power washer of any sort to kind of clean up the equipment here. We really need to do that. I know I've mentioned it many times, and then we just haven't done it. Maybe today's the day. If not today, maybe the next episode. I did service the Vultra also, by the way. So this Vultra has been serviced. I know it looks like there's a little bit of a loss there. That's just because of the drill. I didn't service the drill, so if I undo the drill right now, it will be the service for the Vultra should be all the way at the top. The blue line should be all the way at the top. So most of the people seem to be okay with my decision to get the Vultra here, and as you can clearly tell, it is really not struggling at all to pull this up, the hills here on this field. Now, obviously, this field doesn't have the largest of hills, but it does get some hills on it, right? It's not as severe as our canola field. That's the severe one, and really the other one next to it, whatever the field numbers are, 44 and 43. These are the ones that have the severe hill here, and then 38 was pretty bad too, but we kind of took that out of the equation. So we'll see how it does there, especially when it comes to baling. We'll see how it does. So unfortunately, with all the service and then the loan interest and all that stuff overnight, we are down below 200,000 again. The nice thing, like I mentioned, there are some really nice contracts out there for us. There's 2 hoeing contracts here, 5,000 and 3,000, and then there's a weeding contract. So to be fair, though, you know, if we do these, right, we're going to lose $1,000 from this. So it's probably going to be more like 10,000 when everything's all said and done after you take away, you know, the amount that we have to pay back for leasing or borrowing the equipment. Now, buckwheat, the nice thing about buckwheat, of course, the autosave here. Buckwheat, the nice thing about it is that it should be ready to harvest in time for when it's best to sell. So the buckwheat, right now, we're going to put it in May, means we can harvest this in September. If we go and look at buckwheat on the map here, it's ready to sell in November. So if we're harvesting it in September, we really don't have to hold it for very long, and then we can sell it in November. And that should hopefully help us with, well, whatever comes at the end of the year, right? If we're able to pay off the loan at all, we get that option. Maybe we spend some of the money that we're going to make from all of this oil mill that we're hoping to get here in the next handful of episodes or less. You know, maybe we take the money from that and put it towards paying off some of the loan. Or we spend that money and obviously buy the remaining fields that we need to buy for this challenge, right? So if you're new and you stumbled across this for whatever reason, everything's down below in the description. I try to explain it as best I can in text format there, but there are 3 randomized threats. Each of those threats have sub-threats to them, or child threats, if you want to call them that. And for the first threat, it was literally about a randomized crop. You randomized all the crop, and then you had to make a note of all the crops of every single field at the very beginning that had that crop. And you have to buy all those fields by the end of the series, regardless if they have that crop in it still or not. You have to buy them, and then you have to drill, at least drill, and harvest one time both the specific crop that you got. In our case, we got poppy seeds. So I have to put poppy in all of the fields that I have to own at least once. In other words, I got to drill poppy in all the fields that I own at least once, and then I have to harvest them at least once. For the first time in the last episode, we did put poppy in field 26, and that is one of the fields. I think it's one of the fields. No, maybe it's not. I don't think it is. I think I'm mistaken on that. I need to go back and look at my list there. But regardless, even if it is or it isn't, whatever, it's the first time we've put poppy in. So kind of exciting. I think we might have to hold on to once that field is ready to harvest, because it's not a very fast, or I mean, it's a very fast turnaround really for poppy. So I think there's a chance we might have to hold on to it for a month, maybe 2. It just really depends on the contracts here and what kind of money we're going to get when the soybeans sell here in 2 months. 1 month, 2. That's June, isn't it? It's June for soybeans. Yeah, June. So 2 months. It just really depends on what we get for them, right? We got 12,000 liters, a little over 12,000 liters, but the average best price is 1,792. So 1 month from now, not 2 months. 1 month, June. It was June, July. I knew it was one of those two, but anyway. And then we've got some other stuff in here, too. It's just some odds and ends stuff. It's not really anything crazy, right? You know, it's not even a full trailer load, so a lot of it's not even really probably worth our time to go and sell it. But if we're right on the edge there of being able to buy it, you know, having some of that there to sell is probably going to be pretty helpful for us, right? So, and you never know. Here coming soon, we might get some more harvesting contracts that we find, and if we do get some of those, perhaps we'll get some more that have one of these, you know, the triticale, the sunflowers, the spelt, whatever, sorghum. Maybe we'll find some more, and then that way this silo can be loaded up with a little bit more crop than you normally would get, right? Always try to not sell whatever the bonus is, because you do get a bonus whenever you do a contract and you're harvesting something. You do get a bonus, so I always try to save that and go and put it into the silo. That's where probably a lot of this is from. Some of it is obviously leftovers from chickens and things like that, but a lot of it's probably from contracts, you know, perspective. So yeah, we'll see. But anyway, we've got deadwood out here too, but really I think these 3 are the choices to go with personally. We're just going to make more money off of that, and right now we need more money because we want to buy that mill, right? That's what we want to do more than anything. We could definitely shift gears and kind of go the approach of buying more of the fields that we need to buy. We certainly could do that. There's definitely a justification for going that approach. But for me personally, I really want to go with the mill because, one, we've got this field here, which is a canola field, and it's going to be ready to harvest soon. If we can take that canola and turn it into canola oil, that's going to make us a lot more money than just selling the canola outright. Now, we could sell the canola outright, and maybe we have to sell some of the canola outright to get to the mill. I don't know. But nonetheless, it will tremendously help us if we're able to turn that canola into canola oil. It's going to almost double the profit we'll make off that canola field. So it's kind of the approach I'm hoping to go for. I'm hoping we'll have enough money to get there with the contracts and some of the other things we can sell, like the soybeans, like I mentioned, right? The peas as well, right? But we'll have to see, right? We'll just have to see how things go. Speaking of that, I know the peas were getting pretty close to running out of herbicide. They have ran out of herbicide, so we do need to go get some herbicide and drop that off over there. I'm probably not going to buy a ton because, again, that's money that we're going to have to spend. But we want to buy, I don't know, a couple thousand liters probably of it to put in there. Let me look at that again here in a second once I get turned around this corner here so we can actually go straight for a minute and I get through this little section here, which is always a struggle for whatever reason. There we go. Seeds are okay. Fertilizer is probably okay for a little while. We will have to fill those up again, though, if we want to continue to have the peas cruising along there in that greenhouse. So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on. That's what we're planning to do here. That's what we're aiming to do here today, I guess I should say. I am likely going to be utilizing a worker to help us out a little bit here on the contracts as well. I know that's going to cost me more money in the long run. I get that. But I think there's a high probability that this could take a long time because, you know, those are high dollar paying contracts. And, you know, I want to get all three of them done, right? So, you know, if they take a long time, we could be sitting here looking at an hour and a half, 2 hour long episode. Now, some people might really enjoy that, but YouTube tells me I shouldn't keep my videos that long, so I try not to do that. And I still didn't move that back, did I? I need to move that back. Let's do that right now. All right, there we go. Perfect. Reline it just a little bit. There we go, perfect. All right, drop that off. And we'll grab the mower. We'll go ahead and get started on that. And then I'm going to look at these contracts here, too. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to put a worker on doing the mowing here. I'm going to take a peek right now and see if it actually works or not. Like I said, I don't expect it to. Because the workers seem to be having some issues with it before. So I really don't think it's going to. But look at all that grass they get out there to eat. They do not need any grass for a while. So much meadow grass. So if I turn on this... Yeah, no field detected. That's exactly what I expected it to happen. So, the grass mowing, unfortunately, we are going to have to do that ourselves. Now, the only way I could get around this is if I go into the menu and I go to... well, there's more tractors out there. If I go into the menu and I put some kind of grass texture or whatever between this, the actual pin itself, and the grass field, that's the only way that it's going to actually work because it still thinks it's all one field right now. So I guess I could do that. I mean, I guess we'll do it. Why not? Why not? I'm just going to try the best I can here to not lose too much of this grass. Because we did spend the effort, you know, when we were planting this to make sure we got as close as we could to the fence. So. A little bit too far there, but that's all right. My sinuses are killing me today, gang. I do apologize. I'm having to clear my throat a little bit here, so I'm sorry for that. Not really my intent, but yeah, they're bothering me today, so I apologize. All right, I think... Now, if I reset it now, I think it should realize that this is actually a field now. Hopefully. Yes, it realizes the field now. Now, the worker doing this is going to be a bit of a disaster. So do I really need the worker to do it? Probably not. Probably not. I probably don't want the worker to do it because they are going to run into... they're going to run into everything, right? They're going to run into the fences. They're going to get stuck left and right. Like, it's not going to work. So something we'll do ourselves anyway, but at least we now know for sure that we have it set up as a field, and it's not just some kind of an issue. It's literally just the fact that it still thought it was all one field, even though there's a pin in the way now, right? Whoa. Spinneroonie. All right, so I want to use the used market again. Okay, so there's another vulture out here in the used market. Get two of the same exact tractor. Could rock that, I guess. Get rid of the JCB for it. It's $49,000. And there's a chance, actually, that we probably could get it. I think the JCB is only worth like 20, though, because it's got so many hours on it. Okay, so let's see. Let's try to do one of these contracts here, right? I don't know which one's going to be the better tractor here, the fast track or the Doltzfar. I guess we'll borrow the fast track one. I mean, it's the same exact hoe, so it doesn't really make a difference which one we do, right? And they're both up here near us, so it's going to be a drive anyway to get the worker going on it. Let's do this one. I'm going to borrow the items. And we're also going to accept this one. Maybe there'll be another hoeing contract that will come out as well. I'm going to attempt to put a worker on this and just see what happens now that I've gone around the outside edge. I'm just going to see what happens here. I don't expect them to actually be able to do anything. I think they're going to get stuck. But we'll give it a shot. And that way we can try to kill two birds with one stone. And we can drive to the fields here with the hoe and get started on that. And if we need to flip and put the worker on doing this for a bit while we finish up the grass field, then so be it. So I'm going to go to field 75 first. Actually, field 75 is closer than I thought it was. All right. So I'll go to field 75 first. How is the worker doing? Are they getting stuck? They still don't know what the hell they're doing. Okay, well, I don't know what they're doing, but whatever. So we'll get into this. I'm going to jump over to 75, and I'll keep an eye on the worker. If we need to switch, we'll do it, and we'll get all this done. Okay, both contracts are done. Let's see if another one popped out here. Probably not. It doesn't look like it. There's a weeding, there's a fertilizing, a mowing one, stone picking. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything else popped up. I was hoping another one would pop up for hoeing so I don't have to lease anything else. Maybe we could just do another contract, but unfortunately that's not the case. So we'll go ahead and turn both of those in. We can do one more contract that gets us back up to 206,000. The worker was, astonishingly enough, able to do the entire mowing of this field. I'm actually blown away by it. One thing we don't have now that we actually have a small grass field, but we don't have, is any kind of a windrower. I don't think I'm going to get one for the time being. I think I'm going to suffer without one, although a windrower is probably going to be nice here soon enough. But for right now, I'm not going to worry about it too much, mostly because, well, one, there's not really a huge reason to get one, because right now we just have young water buffalo, and they're just eating grass, and there's plenty of meadow grass, and we have tons and tons of grass in there for them anyway. So the grass we're mowing right now is really specifically only for, turning that into TMR at some point down the line here when we need it for the adult water buffalo, right? So, yeah, I'm not concerned about doing that right now. Speaking of the water buffalo, how are we doing here? Some manure, some slurries in there. Good. We're starting to actually get some of that out of there. That's good. Not really enough, in my opinion, to justify buying any piece of equipment to go ahead and throw that down on the ground in any of our fields, but soon enough we will. Soon enough it will be, 100%. I was very surprised that the worker was able to get this whole entire field done without any issues. I'm very, very surprised by it. Now, I think for a while we can get away without a windrower on this field. It's not the largest field in the world. It's going to take a little bit longer than it would with a windrower, yeah, but you could also argue, considering how small the field is, by the time we windrowed the whole thing, we could probably have most of it already baled up just by going up and down, with our traditional ways. And so, yeah, it would definitely be faster, probably, but would it be worth it for the price? Probably not right now. Probably not. Once we get a much larger grass field in, then yeah, we'll definitely consider at that point putting in or buying a windrower, I guess. Now there is some other options out there we could go into. Options we've used in the past, more specifically some options around like the Vintage Survival series. It's just kind of a very, very small, one-sided windrower. But it would almost take just as long as it would for us to right now bale this, right? So it really probably wouldn't help all that much, besides the fact that it makes it just easier to pick up when we come do the baling. But other than that, it's not really going to be any faster utilizing that one. So if we do one, it really needs to be a pretty substantial one. Otherwise, I feel like we're just wasting our time, right? So... Now, one thing I wish and I would love for them to figure out some way to do in the next iteration of Farming Simulator is having workers, do grass fields, basically. All of the grass work, for the most part, we have to do, right? They can't really bale it. They can't figure out how to bale it or anything like that. They can do some windrowing, but they can't figure out how to bale it, right? So I would love to figure out a way for them to incorporate a situation where you have a worker can actually do the baling for you. I know that'd probably be pretty difficult. Because, in essence, you would have to have, this is the way that I think it's going to work based off of how I understand how the game works. You would have to have the windrowed piles or the grass, whatever, be within a range, a restriction range that, the worker knows to drive up and down, right? And a lot of the times when you're doing that, it's kind of got some awkward turns and weird spots where, the grass is going to be at, so it's not going to be perfect, so there's going to be bits missed here all over the place, right? So I think that's the main reason why they haven't done it, but I would love for them to figure out a way to do so. I don't exactly know the answer to how to make them, how to allow them to be able to do something like that, but I think that would be a huge quality of life improvement for the game, is giving us some kind of ability to utilize a worker for baling. Now, we don't necessarily have to get all of this up today. I would like to get most of it up. But we don't necessarily have to get all of it up today. You know, we're going to have plenty of time, really. We got to put some fertilizer down on this field, of course, right? Because we want to get that full fertilization application when it's time to mow this again. But we don't have to do the whole thing. One thing I was kind of thinking about or considering doing, this is obviously future tense here, or future term. That field straight ahead of us here, if we buy that field and we combine this portion of the grass field with that, it becomes a lot more, you know, reasonable of a grass field, right? This is kind of a weird, awkward field, and honestly, at this point, I would probably get rid of the little corners up here that are next to the pin here, just to make it, you know, easier all around the board. But, you know, if we buy that plot of land down there and turn this into just one big, massive grass field, I think that would be pretty beneficial to us. Now, again, is it really going to help us in the long run of completing one of these threats? The only way it would is with the animals, right? The more specifically the water buffalo. We are going to need more eventually. I can tell you that right now. We've got a decent amount of grass. We got a lot of straw. We're going to continue to have lots of straw. Once we get a lot of water buffalo going in there, once they start reproducing and we're getting close to 200, even 250, if we're still not done with everything else by then, right? We're going to need a lot more. We just truly are. We're going to need a lot more grass. We're just not going to have enough to feed them from this little tiny field here. It's not going to work. It's not going to be sufficient. So, probably makes a lot of sense for us to consider buying that plot there. I don't know how expensive it is. I know it's relatively large. I don't know how expensive it is. 117. So yeah, it's not cheap, right? It's not cheap by any means, but that should be kind of a long-term goal for us potentially, is to buy that, in my opinion. Again, like I said, this is going to take us a long time to get all of this done. This is not going to be a quick thing here. So let's see. Anything else pop up in the used market? Anything else pop up in the contract area? Used market. So we can do that. That'll be $3,000 for that one. I feel like that's what we should need to do. I mean, that's good money, right? That gets us $209,000. It's an increase from where we started at, even with doing all of the stuff we had to do, buying the certain. I had to buy a little bit of seeds and fertilizer as well, but you know, you get the point. Like doing the maintenance on this Vultra and everything else, right? That gets us to at least an additional range. Now we're only going to be about $30,000 away from that mill. We're getting there closer. It's inching ever so closer to that. So I do think that is the one to go with, unless something else pops up out there between now and us finishing this grass field. There's a lot to do on this grass field, though. Like I said, a windrower would absolutely be useful here, but I don't want to spend the money on it right now. And this will probably be the only time we actually mow this field for a little while. It's probably going to sit in a stagnant state for a little bit longer after this. Just because like I said, we don't really need the grass right now. We will eventually, but we don't really need it right now. We're just doing it right now because it's literally the first time that we've been able to mow it, and it's the first time that it's all been set up and ready to go, right? So that's really the only reason we're doing it right now. Because all these bales are just going to go into the silage stick and just kind of hang on there in a storage format, right? That's all they're going to do. Now, in a pinch, talking about, you know, the mill and getting the money, in a pinch, if we absolutely have to, we can sell some more straw, we can sell some more silage. Is it going to be the best time to sell it? Probably not. But in a pinch, we can do that, right? We can do that. Anybody into fantasy football at all? We're doing I'm in 3 fantasy football leagues. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of everything. But anyway, we're doing one of them today. The one we're doing today is actually just friends of ours, my wife and I. She's a part of it. And we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a bit of a unathletic combine, if you will. A little NFL combine type of approach here. But we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to try something a little fun. We're going to have some competitions, but none of them are really require us to do like a 40-yard dash, anything like that, because we've got a couple individuals in the league well, I don't want to say they're old, because they're not, but they're getting close to 60, right? So significantly older than my wife and I are, but they're still good friends of ours, and they've never really done fantasy football until last year. They loved it, and so, you know, I'm just running it, and it's just more of like a fun league. You know, it's nothing crazy. My other two leagues are a lot more serious, but this one's a lot of fun, and so we're trying this now. We're going to see how this goes. This is going to be interesting. I'm the one coming up with all the different stuff because, again, it's my league technically. I'm the one that got them and talked them all into trying this out. Didn't know if they would actually even like it, but they asked about it one day. I'm like, do you want to do one? And they're like, yeah, we could try it. And so here we are, 2 years later. So we're going to do a bit of a challenge for your draft pick. There's nothing to do with farming, so just bear with me for a minute. If you have no interest in this at all, bear with me. I'm kind of excited about it. And maybe you guys have some better ideas for maybe next year's combine, because we're probably going to do it again. So the first competition we're going to do is Flip Cup, which most people know what Flip Cup is. So we'll do Flip Cup and then beer pong. And I'm not saying, like, the Flip Cup will have a little bit of beer in it that they have to chug and then flip the cup, of course, right? Beer pong, there's not going to be any water in it. It's just going to have ping pong balls, and you got to throw the ping pong balls into cups, right? Then we've got, which I never used. Somebody gave it to me as like a present one time, and I, for whatever reason, just never even used it. But it's like this Velcro, like, wall-like thing with these little tiny, like, sticky, like, plastic golf balls, and you hit them into this Velcro wall, and it gives you points depending on where you hit it. And it's like a little bit of a game, like a golf game, whatever. Probably play, like, when it's winter or whatever. So we're going to do that, and obviously points, obviously. And then we're going to do cornhole, or bags, depending on where you're from. I'm from Ohio, which is where cornhole was created. It's cornhole. That's what the actual name is. It's cornhole. Fight me on it. So we're going to do that. They're going to be just one. You get 8 shots, and if you put, the faster you get a bag into the hole, the faster you get to move on to the next competition. Or the next event, I guess, whatever you want to call it. If not, you got to sit there and throw 8 of them, and you can't just speed throw them. You got to throw them one at a time, like you normally would cornhole. Right? You got to do your step and everything, or there's going to be a limit on that, or you're going to get docked some time or whatever, right? So, and then the final event I think I'm working on. There might be 2 other events, but the final one I'm for sure doing. This is actually an idea of my wife. I was trying to figure out like another good one that's like. You know, not specifically a drinking one. The only drinking one really we have, honestly, of the ones I just mentioned was the Flip Cup one. You could do it with beer pong, I guess, but we're not doing that. So there's 2 other ones that I was thinking about doing. One is, you've probably heard of it before, where you fill up a full pint of beer, and then you find a pint that has not necessarily a logo, but like a name of like a brewery or a name of anything on it, and you try to drink your with one sip or one gulp, or without taking a breath, however you want to word it. You try to get the line of beer to stop somewhere in between all of the letters, like split the whatever the G. Like, so if there's a brewery nearby that says, let's say it starts with the G, you split the G. You try to get that line right where that G, middle of that G line is. Something like that. I was thinking about doing something like that at the end, but the other one that my wife came up with, which I thought was a great idea, was we don't have a bocce ball set, but I do love bocce ball. Wish I did, just don't. But she came up with this idea to take a croquet set, take the balls from the croquet set, put the what do you call it, the pole or whatever it is, like where you start, where you end or whatever, and put it out in the middle of the grass and take the croquet balls and throw them like bocce balls and the closest to that stick. And I think that's a fantastic idea. So we're probably going to do that. So that's kind of where we're at, but I think it'll be pretty fun, and then that will decide, where you place as far as the draft order goes. You can pick whatever you want. If you win the competition of overall, time-wise, you get to go first, or second, or third, fourth, fifth, wherever you want to be at, right? All right, what are we looking at here? So, $3,000 is the best we're going to get. Yeah, 3,000. I think we have to. We can only do one, but I think we have to. So we'll borrow the items. I think we have to do it. And this is such a wide hoe that it's not going to take long. It's going to take us longer probably to drive up there than it is to actually do the field. All right, where are we going here? Quick autosave, of course, all the way up at the very, very top. All right, we know exactly where that is. That's up by where the mill we're going to buy. It's up by our field 26. We know exactly where that is. I will see you up there. Probably do a time-lapse of this. I'm not going to time-lapse driving up there, but I will start a time-lapse probably once we get up into the actual field itself. Alright, gang, we are all finished, and we're finished for today's episode as well. We'll go ahead and turn that one in. Gets us up to 208,101. I was hoping to get to 209, but I did have to buy some solid fertilizer. Now, to be fair, I could have taken it out of the drill there, but, I mean, we're going to use it eventually, so what's the difference? Gets us up to 208, though, right? So we did make some money today. We made some progress for sure. Very happy with the outcome here. Hopefully, you are too. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks to my members for all their continued support. If you haven't done so already, hit the like, subscribe button for me. Check out the second channel. Check out the shop. Check out the Discord. Everything you need, it's always down below for you. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your support, as always, and we'll see you next time.